Greetings all, this is the J-Man from Metal SHARXS, and on Tuesday, May 7th, our Metal SHARXS channel had 4 of us detectorists going out metal detecting to St. George Island. And we're going to chronicle that in our next video. And this museum is located in Carrabelle, Florida, right across from the public beach at Carrabelle Beach. And this museum is really neat. It chronicles the history of World War II soldiers who served at the camp and trained for amphibious warfare. Really, these are troops who got ready for the D-Day invasion at Normandy, France, but also there were some other troops who went on to serve in the Pacific. So we'll tell you more about that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to give you a little information on how this particular video came about. And that is from some metal detecting finds at St. George Island back in April of this year. So we'll tell you more about that too. So we hope you enjoy this one. J-Man out. So please stay tuned throughout this video to the very end, in which we'll tell you more about these 2 finds. But in a nutshell, this is a 50 caliber machine gun shell from World War II that I found in April at St. George Island. And I'm going to tell you more about that in our wrap-up at the end of this video. And this is a bullet from World War II, believed to be, and it was also found at St. George Island, but several years ago by my brother, the Silver Stingray. So we'll tell you more about both of these items at the very end. This is the J-Man at Metal SHARXS, and right across the road from where I am now is Carrabelle Beach, the public beach access area. And we've detected there before and found a few things, mostly clad coins. But on the other side of the road from where I just showed you is a really cool World War II museum, Camp Gordon Johnston World War II Museum. And its admission is free, but donations are greatly appreciated. And so in this video I'm going to explain more about the museum and show you a few sites from there. But it really has preserved a lot of great history from World War II, and Camp Gordon Johnston, which was used for training purposes in the war. And troops that trained around this area at St. George Island, Dog Island, Carrabelle Beach and so forth helped to get ready for the amphibious invasion of Normandy, France during D-Day in June of 1944. And one reason I got so interested is because I found this 50 caliber shell and my brother found a 50 caliber bullet end of it. So we have those 2 in this bag here, and I showed them to the caretaker of the museum and she was interested in it. So one really neat display at the Camp Gordon Johnston World War II Museum is right here, where they have kind of a diorama where they show troops training, landing at the beach from amphibious vehicles and barrage balloons. And so there's some pictures available through the State Archives of Florida, so I'll probably put some of those up, which show more exactly what this diorama depicts, the training that was done during World War II to help prepare for the invasion of Normandy, France for D-Day. So very neat, very well worth the visit. So another really neat area at the museum is when you come up in this little corner here, And they actually have a mine detector here. So this is where metal detecting really got its start. And so you can learn about the history of how it was used to uncover mines and keep troops safe during World War II. And then this is a really neat exhibit here, and I took a lot of pictures of it that I want to show you. These are some neat World War II era equipment finds and .30 caliber shell finds and things like that that were found in this area after World War II. And practice grenades. And then over in this display they have lots of religious medals that were often worn with dog tags, and some coins and different things that have been found in this area left over from World War II.
Broken only by the hushed approach of assault craft.
So hi there, this is the J-Man from Metal SHARXS, and we wanted to interview and learn more about the Camp Gordon Johnston World War II Museum. So hello, what can you tell us about the museum?
The museum is new. It's only been open for a year here. Other times we have rented space in Carrabelle. Now this one belongs to us. We don't have to move again, and it withstood Hurricane Michael, and we're still a work in progress.
Okay. So I've been looking around and seeing a lot of neat exhibits about the training of troops, especially amphibious, for amphibious warfare during World War II.
We trained also hundreds of paratroopers trained here because we're all islands. We trained nurses here that already had hospital experience so they could go in and set up field hospital. We housed German and Italian prisoners of war. They were brought in, they were interrogated, and if they were found to be Nazis, they got shipped to Biloxi and got locked up.
Okay.
The rest of them got to stay, for which they worked, and they got paid for their work, and they got the same food and the same medical care as our soldiers did.
Yes, ma'am.
It, actually, I don't know if you can use it or not, but it was known as Camp Hell back then.
Oh, okay.
It was not the nicest place to train at.
Oh yeah, I guess I heard a story, or read a story once about somebody, some of the food wasn't all that great.
Well, I don't think it was the food so much as it was just the bugs and the heat and the
Yes.
humidity, and they didn't have regular barracks. They lived in tar paper shacks, the soldiers did, which did not hold up well to storms at all.
Yes, ma'am. And I guess sometimes in the food they would find bugs, and at first they thought they were raisins, and they found out, no, those aren't raisins.
That would not surprise me.
Yes.
To this day and age, you might find bugs if you're not careful with your food and keep it sealed up.
Yes, ma'am.
Sealed up.
Yes, ma'am. And so there's not a admission fee per se, but you do accept donations?
Yes, we do. We appreciate every donation. We're trying to raise money now to build another building so we can have our vehicles here.
Okay, that would be really neat.
Yes, we have a duck, we have a leafer wagon, we have Jeeps, and we would like to have them here along with the Higgins boat.
Yes. So you used to have a little bit bigger building, but now you're hoping to get a bigger place again?
Well, we used to be in the old Carrabelle school, which was not good for our artifacts because of mold and mildew. And we've never had a place where we could have our vehicles there, and that's what we're after.
Okay.
Because you can't leave them outside, and they're going to rust away in the salt air, and you're
Yes,
going to have children who are not well watched.
So what are your basic days that you're open and hours?
We are open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 5
Okay.
every day.
Well,
And we will open for certain tours at different hours if we have one that warrants it.
Well, we really appreciate this because it's been really educational for us, and we hope we can help educate the younger generation too.
I hope so, because they don't teach it in school anymore, and it's part of our history, a big part of our history.
Yes. Yeah, I found a 50 caliber shell a few weeks ago over on St. George. And so I didn't even know much about the history here, but now it's really made it come alive for me because I want to learn all I can about it and help others.
Yes.
So-
I have a student going to FSU who is strictly doing World War II stuff thesis, and he comes down once in a while, and we get
that's
together and talk. Yes.
Okay, and we'll put a link up for your website and information so people can learn more about the museum.
Appreciate that very much.
Okay, well, thanks. Greetings all, this is the J-Man again with our wrap-up from Metal SHARXS. We hope you enjoy the footage from the World War II Museum. Now here's a little bit more information about our finds at St. George Island. Several years ago my brother, the Silver Stingray, found this. And as you can see, this is a machine gun bullet, believed to be from World War II. And it's pretty white looking, so I think the salt caused that. And it also has like some kind of, almost like a barnacle or some kind of clay buildup at this end. And then this item is a 50 caliber machine gun bullet, also believed to be from World War II. And I don't think I'm going to be able to tell what factory it was made in, unless I maybe do some light electrolysis on this, but I'm not sure because I'm afraid that might damage it. But this, normally on a shell like this, I did some research, and sometimes you can see like STL for St. Louis, and that will tell you where it was manufactured at the plant in St. Louis, or it might say REM for Remington, and there were some Remington factories active in World War II. And so this was a neat find from mid-April at St. George Island, and I was only able to find it because Hurricane Michael had done extensive damage to St. George Island, and the state park was closed for several months afterwards. But when it was open in early March, my family and I went there in mid-April, and some of the dunes are really worn down, so you can find things like this that were left there many years ago. So that's about all for now, but we hope you enjoy this. J-Man out.